the reality is that identities are very personal to us, and they're going to change just as much as you change throughout your life.
Don't forget to let thank that previous version for everything that she held for you and everything that she did for you. And it's not killing her off or abandoning her. It's choosing someone even better and integrating her into best self.
I still don't necessarily feel like I'm a fire performer or a dancer or any of those things because it's not natural to me. But as you slowly do it, it will start to become natural.
The people that want to work with me are going to work with me because of the frequency that they're experiencing from me. And it's magnetizing them in that way.
You're allowed to be seen even when it's cringe and uncomfortable.
What you're doing so tightly, trust that like no one can do it like you, even if they tried.
I am boy goddess, boy
Welcome to Going Goddess, the podcast where empowerment meets embodiment and divine feminine energy leads the way.
We're your hosts. I'm Silver Luna.
And Cherry, your chief empowerment officers and cosmic hype girls, here to remind you that your magic is not up for debate.
Every week, we're bringing real talk, rituals, and rising woman energy straight to you. Whether you're just soft launching your inner goddess journey or you're leading a full on revolution, you belong here.
Let's go, Goddess.
Hot take. The don't copy people, just be authentic advice is totally broken when you don't know what showing up as your most authentic self looks like and feels like just yet. Tonight's episode is all about the idea that reinvention isn't a finish line, it's a way of living. I'm Cherry, and I'm here with my co host.
Hello, I'm Silver Luna. And tonight we're going to go on our third act of our trifecta. A couple of episodes ago, we talked about shaping the outside, talking about body modifications and all of the above. In the last episode, we talked about the art of reinvention, shaping the inside and who you are from the inside out. But tonight for our third act, we're talking about living the reinvention, the part that nobody films.
Yes. And we want to remind you that it's okay that you're still figuring it out. Maybe you've chosen this new identity, but we're still figuring out what it feels like in your body. What does it mean to show up as her? We're going to talk through this borrowed recipe theory and the idea that copying other people isn't necessarily inauthenticity. It's copying as discovery as you learn what feels really good. We're going to talk about boundaries in your new identity, super important, and then how you totally trust yourself. And one way that we do that is by diving into our human design.
Mm, yes. Ooh, I'm so excited, Cherry. This is going to be such a good episode.
Yeah, it really is. So let's talk about the myth that reinvention has a finish line, like a final you, as if like we choose this one new identity and that's it for the rest of our lives. I think that the work of reinvention is what happens after the glow up montage ends.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Reinventing is definitely not like a one-stop shop. You don't reinvent yourself and say, "Oh, this is who I am now. I'm Silver Luna," and that's that. Like, it's constant. You are always thinking, "Is this really who I am?" And you're always testing your boundaries and you're always seeing what's comfortable and what feels good to you. Like the reality is that identities are very personal to us, and they're going to change just as much as you change throughout your life. And like, even though you might feel tied to a certain identity, it doesn't mean that it's something that you have to stick to. Personally, for me, I'm on my, I think, third iteration of an identity. From small Jess, I don't know, small town Jess, I should say, to Jessica growing up and, growing into who I am and then into Silver Luna. And I think that it's beautiful every step of the way.
Me too. Absolutely. And like, definitely there's that tension between, okay, this is who I am now. And then like our bodies have to catch up to it. Like, we might have conflicting beliefs. That's something that, our friend Ellie talks about, that we have limiting beliefs of, like, that are tied to old identities, but we might have a conflicting belief where it's like, "No, I choose to be, this badass, authentic life coach, inspirational woman," and there might be this, like, limiting belief where it's like, "Well, but you can't be, like, too much." And so it's every day choosing the version of myself that I want to be and show up as, and trying different things on for size. Like, what does dream girl Cherry feel like? Like, what does she dress like? What kind of music does she listen to? The things that I eat have changed.
Mhm.
So, Silver, what does, like, still figuring it out look for you in real life?
Oh, man. I can tell you just something that's the most obvious, figuring it out, that anybody can look back on my pictures and see, is something to do with my hair. Figuring it out, like, I am constantly figuring out, and, the reason even though hair would be considered a body modification, and it is something on the outside, it is still something that I changed to fit my identity, and I have had my dreads and my braids for the last, like, I don't know, 3 to 4 years now, and which is crazy. It feels like it's only been a year, but, um, I tried a new type of hairstyle a few months ago where I tried just K-pins or something like that. I can't remember what they were called, micro pins, and anyways, it was supposed to be flat, normal hair, and anybody knows that whenever you go to the hairdresser and you get a bad haircut, you just don't feel yourself, and that's exactly how I felt in that hair all the time because I felt like the extensions were showing. I was always trying to cover something and trying to make it blend a little bit better, and so I didn't really have it figured out like I thought I did whenever I originally ordered those, and I didn't actually resonate with that in my identity, and for the first time ever, I took them out like 4 weeks into having them, and I trashed them all. And I in the process, I made a whole new set of all braids, which are what I have in now, and I installed those, like, about a week after I took out the old hair, and it felt like I just had stepped right back into my body that I had left behind a few months earlier.
I so get that, and, oh, I love every version of your hair, truly. And even, like, the in-between times when you don't have, like, the braids in or dreads or anything, and you just have this long purple hair, like, I love all of it. It's so much fun to be your friend and to witness you and your many transformations. You're like a I don't know, like a dress up, like, Barbie or, like, mermaid or something. It's so fun. It's like, what is she gonna wear next?
Yes, I love it.
Not that, like, no, I mean, yeah, you're, like, extremely aesthetically pleasing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really. That's
So,
awesome.
I know that that is more physical. So, an example of a time that I behaviorally was figuring out what was for me, and even though I knew that I was worth, how much effort I had put into something that I had made for another creator, I had spent hours on a jacket for somebody, and I had spent, I mean, probably like 40, 50 hours on this jacket, just rhinestoning each and every single individual fringe, and it took me weeks. I waited, I was working on it in between events and in between work. And by the time that I actually sold it, I only sold it for $300 because I thought, well, this is all that it would sell for if somebody was going to buy it from me. And that's all that I would purchase it for from somebody. And I wanted to make sure that it was something that they could wear and that they would be proud of. And ended up really, I feel like, underselling myself. So then I actually had a conversation with my dear friend Cherry, who helped give me the encouragement to say something. And I did. I went back to that person and I told him, I said, I'm sorry, but this is actually worth a lot more than what I charged. And I did ask, I did say that it would be appreciated if they could pay for a higher dollar amount, but they said that was all they had. And I said, okay, that's okay for me. At least I asked for what I believed it to be worth, then let it just roll off my shoulders and then feel bad that I didn't actually ask for what I felt my craft was worth.
Mm, so proud of you for that, because that is such an edgy thing to do. Even, like, just from the jump, like, asking for money is, like, such an edgy thing to do. Like, we all have a lot of us experience a lot of blocks around that, and, like, lots of energetic blocks tied to these, like, limiting beliefs and all the things, and it's like, what you just shared, I'm like, "That thing was worth $1,500 minimum." Like, so then you undercharge, but then, like, to be brave enough and to, like, hold like, you said that you're Silver Luna who speaks, like, her truth, and then, like, to really do that, I so celebrate you for that. That's huge.
Thank you, sis. I am very appreciative to have had your support in that. But yeah, it definitely felt like a huge moment and a huge growth moment where I actually had the bravery to go and ask somebody for what I believed should have been the original price to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also like, "Oh, shit, I already said something, and now I have to, like" I'm going back on that a little bit, and it's like, that was just like a double, like, triple whammy of, like, I am worth this,
All of the
and
shame and
yeah,
all of the imposter syndrome and all of the, "Oh, actually, I am worth this, and you can do this. You are
yes,
strong enough."
exactly right.
So, when you wake up some mornings, do you ever not recognize the version of yourself that made yesterday's decisions?
Mm. Honestly, at this point in my life, no. Not so long ago, absolutely yes. And I mean, a lot of it was tied to like drinking. And like, damn, we really chose that life. But I've done so much identity work over the last like year and a half, 2 years that um I stand on my decisions and like I can see where there have been times where even in that like tension, that time between I know who I want to be and who higher self Cherry is, and I'm still living in this old identity. Um, that was like a lot of like, oh, just like inner trauma. And so yeah, I would do things and be like, "Oops, like that didn't come off how I wanted it to," or even if it's like I stood on that decision, it something like didn't feel good inside. Like there's a disconnect there. And so doing the work to really like integrate my higher self identity with like the version I'm showing up as like in life has really made it so that I do recognize myself and I recognize those decisions. And even if it's a decision that I don't I'm like, "Damn, I wish I hadn't done that," or "That wasn't the right one." I'm like, "Oh, maybe that was just, like, shadow cherry." Like, I accept those things now, but I wouldn't say that there are really any there's a point where I don't recognize, like, myself.
Yeah. Well, I do like how you verbalize that, how you were able to put it into words that it's more so questioning your decisions. And did I say that? And do I really believe that? Am I sure that I wanted it to sound that way to that person? Really, it's always been a matter of what was truthfully coming from you. And that is what you wanted to say. Is that the message you wanted to convey? It is. But is it how you wanted to convey it? And that's exactly where, like, you weren't necessarily sure because of that tension. So I do like how you put that into words.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I guess and there are still actually, no, there are definitely still times where, like, maybe I get a little, mm, triggered about something, and that's on me to, like, heal that space, but there are some days where, like, a comment on Facebook or something on, like or YouTube on one of my videos, and someone says something they didn't need to say, and I don't need to respond to it, but I just feel that I'm like, "No, you know what? I'm just ready to rumble a little bit, like, I'm gonna clap back on some shit," and I try to do it really, like, thoughtfully, but sometimes I just wanna, like, go in, and I'm like, "What are you dealing with, sis?" Like so that yeah, yeah, like what you said, like maybe that wasn't exactly how I wanted it to come off, and then like the next day I can be like, "Oh, she was really hungry yesterday," and let that guide the things she said or whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But okay, so where do you feel the most like in between? Like, I don't know, is there any like tension between the identity that you reinvented yourself into and like your body or your wardrobe or your friendships or work or anything?
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of tension between my Silver Luna identity and my Jessica identity, which would be my work versus my play.
Mm,
In fact, it's something that as recently as just yesterday, I was getting my windows tinted and Zeus submitted the request for me to get them tinted, so whenever he did it, he requested my name as Silver Luna. I walked into the tint place, I introduced myself as Jessica, and they were like I was like, "Oh, maybe you have Silver Luna?" He was like, "Yeah, okay." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's not what I was expecting." And so it was just constantly toggling between the 2 identities, am I Jessica or am I Silver Luna? And I have considered the idea of eliminating the Jessica identity altogether, but that would mean, like, my entire professional life, because I would if I wanted to, like, change my name altogether to Silver Luna, that would be a very interesting conversation to have with my customers, and also the entire purpose was to separate those 2 lives. So I don't know how to reconcile that. That's actually something that I've been thinking about over the last, like, year or so. Where do I wanna go on that front? Because on the external version of me, I don't have any intention. I know who my identity is, and I know who I am and what I like, and, um, I just can't change fast enough. And then my friendships, I feel pretty steadfast in that I've been building friendships since we've moved to Jacksonville, and I've been making sure to stay firm in my convictions and the things that I believe, and the people that I hang out with are people that I align with morally and that don't ever try to break my boundaries or
Mm,
test the boundaries
mm,
intentionally. And so, thankfully, in my older, wiser days, I suppose, I have definitely cut out a lot of that tension, just like not knowing, that version of us that made yesterday's decisions. I have cut out a lot of the bad actors in that part of my life, and a lot of that tension has gone to the wayside with it, with the exception of professional versus personal, and that is something that I still face on a daily basis.
mhm. I feel you on that big time. You know, I've been through that.
Yeah,
And and for a while on my LinkedIn, I had like my whole post about it, and it's still like people don't ask me about it, but like on LinkedIn, I saw even today that I had reached out to someone a couple years ago and it was signed Amanda, and then there was this, and then now it's like all cherry. And I'm like, like it's so interesting. But also being in business development, I'm like, that was a very smart thing for me to do because everyone remembers that name. That's
that's
not
true.
why I did it, but I love all the benefits that come with it. But it is like standing like 10 toes down and having some awkward conversations and like certain people. There was this one woman in my life who met with my previous name, and she just like wanted to hold on every time I saw her. She would be like, "No, you're my Amanda. You're no, no, no." And I was like, I'm not gonna fight you on this, but like I paid a bunch of money to like change my name through everything from passport to like ID, like social security, like all of it. My name is Cherry. So like, but if you're gonna call me that, like whatever, that's on you. That's whatever you're going through. Um, and so, yeah, it is. I totally feel you on that, and everyone has. I mean, it's a journey for sure. I just keep thinking about Queen Herbie. Her name is Amy Nunes, but she goes by Queen Herbie. I'm like, you're Silver Luna.
Right. So I would
Uh,
imagine that a lot of actors and artists also have that same conundrum where they have a whole personal life that is not by their stage name at all, and so they have to kinda toggle between the 2.
yeah.
That is
And something that I have gone through, and I'm so grateful for G and like how he's helped me through this. Um, like a year ago, I was like, I I don't know, like, in my head, sometimes I still hear my old name and, like, is like, my subconscious or, like, if I feel like a higher like, a guide is talking to me, sometimes I still hear my old name, and for a while, it was, like, kind of freaking me out because 'cause I'm like, "Wait, does that mean, like, I know this is who I am?" And it's like, "Oh my god, no, I just spent 33 years being called that." And so he was like, "You can give yourself some grace on this, like, you don't have to
yeah.
freak out." Mm, but that has been a really interesting thing to work through and something I think that anyone going through a reinvention of themselves might deal with is there was a time that I was doing this like breath work and I like dropped into this like third eye space is what it felt like and I connected with Amanda version of me and she was like sad. She was like, I feel like you abandoned me, like I wasn't good enough. Like, Cherry's amazing, but, like, why wasn't I good enough? And I got to hug her and be like, "Oh, baby girl, I love you so much. You are amazing and so worthy of love and got us to exactly where we are. This isn't an abandonment. This is an enhancement. This is like us stepping into who we've always wanted to be." And she was like, "Oh, you're right." And so, like, I just got to hug her, and like that was really healing.
Man.
So, yeah. And I think that that might be something that like people go through when they reinvent themselves of like, don't forget to let thank that previous version for everything that she held for you and everything that she did for you, and it's not killing her off or abandoning her. It's choosing someone even better and integrating her into best self.
I love this message because I think that for me, it's something that I think that maybe some people going through their reinvention can understand or relate to, and something I'm trying to break is I use my old name a lot for punishment of myself. I haven't recognized it. You just reminded me whenever you're talking about seeing the your previous version of yourself. I tend to I tend to call myself Jessica whenever I'm like, "Oh, that was so stupid. Jessica, what are you thinking?" And that's how I get onto myself. And it's not frequent. It only ever happens whenever it's something really significant and then I'm freaking out or I'm like panicking or I do something really stupid. If I've done something really dumb, then I'll be like, "Jessica, come on." And I just noticed it in the last few days that I've been doing that for like probably a couple of years since I've started my new name. And I'm like, I should not be doing that because I'm constantly punishing the old version of myself. And if I reflect deeper on that, I am constantly punishing that old version of myself because I don't necessarily want to be that person. I keep the professional persona around because I have to. I don't wanna be Jessica. I don't wanna have to report to my boss. I don't wanna have to do all of those things, but I do. So whenever I think of, like, the times that I'm getting onto myself, it's easier to punish Jessica than it is Silver Luna because Silver Luna is doing all of the good things.
Wow, that's really powerful. And that awareness is amazing. And reminds me of Amanda Roa from Back to the Heart podcast. She talks about that too, where she used to be like, she didn't like her name because she would always say, like, "What the hell, Amanda?" or "Come on, Amanda." And so, yeah, listeners, how do you talk to yourself? And what name do you use for yourself? And like, yeah, that's so powerful. So how do you when you catch yourself doing that, what does it look like now?
I just caught it a few days ago, and I stopped myself, and I whenever I do it, I try to stop myself and repeat it. Just repeat it back, whatever I said, even if it's not something that I want to be doing necessarily, I'd rather break the habit of punishing my old name and at least treat myself like myself, and then I can work on the punishment aspect later. I mean, if I had to complain about something, like, that's really not that big of a deal. I'm just complaining to myself about myself. But,
Yeah.
you know, I do recognize that it stems from not being happy with that version and wanting to
Mhm.
lean into that version. So, now I just try to correct it, and if I can correct it, that's the best I can do.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, sometimes in my head, it's, like, similar, and I'm like, "Cherry." I've even asked my guides, I'm like, "Will you please call me Cherry?" And sometimes I hear, like, Cherry, and I'm like, "Why don't you remember?" It's very interesting, very interesting.
It is, but you're right, there's also 33 years of unlearning that name, so
Yeah,
and
totally.
that leads me to my next question for you, Cherry. Is there a version of you that you've tried on recently that didn't fit, and what did you learn from her?
Mm. I'm like, more or less. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I can think back to like a few years ago, man, I was trying a lot of things in this like search for like liberation and who I am. And I tried being like a sugar baby for a little bit. That did not fit, that felt really bad, but I was like, "I'm a hustler, like, whatever, like, I will exploit all of these, like, old men who are trying to exploit me, and, like, this is powerful," and now I see where I was giving my power away, and I don't have to do that, like, there was that, but then also, like, trying to be, um, most recently, someone who promotes someone else. So, something I was working through recently is I've been building this like community, this school, SKOOL, guys. um, and I'm really excited about it. I'm putting a lot of heart and soul and time into it. And I have this other methodology that I went through that changed the game for me and really like helped catapult me into the version of who I am today. And I, for the longest time, had so much resistance around creating my own methodology or my own community or school or courses or whatever, because I'm like, yo, if I went through this and it worked for me, like, why would I don't need to create something else. I'm a promoter, I'm a connector. I can get people excited about this one thing. But the universe is like, no, we're giving you something that you need to, that this is what we want you to create. Because I wake up at like 4 in the morning, and for, like, 2 hours, I'm working on this thing. Like, it's just the first thing I do. It's, like, that's what I know that I'm, like, co-creating this with Gus, God, Universe, Source, and, um, so talking to this person that created this other methodology and trying to figure out how could I be the promoter for that while also building this thing, which I will also be promoting, and I talked to her, and she was like, "Well, it has to be totally separate." So my idea was that I would create this magnetic community and people would go through that and then they would go into her methodology because it's at a higher price point. It's like for a longer amount of time, like the coursework and things. And she was like, it has to be completely separate. And I'm like, but all of my outreach and stuff is like based on my frequency connecting with my soulmate clients and bringing people into me that way. And she was like, you're gonna have to compartmentalize that. And, if you're working on this, it's just about that. It's not about you at all. And I'm like, but the people that want to come in they wanna work with me, right? And she's like, "Well, it's not about that." And I just had this realization that was like, "Oh, no, I can't be someone who just markets someone else's thing." Like, I'm 10 toes down, cherry Like, I have magnetic and I have my own coaching, and I'm not gonna turn myself off for 30 minutes to promote someone else's thing, even though I am this connector. So maybe it was like this version of me that wanted to just promote someone else's thing, and I tried it on for a little bit and it just felt so wrong because like there's a million different courses out there that anyone can take, and I trust and I know that the people that want to work with me are going to work with me because of the frequency that they're experiencing from me, and it's magnetizing them in that way. So, yeah, that was an interesting realization to come to.
And I'm so proud of you for coming to that realization because now you're working on your own methodology and you're gonna have your own program and you can step into your own role, not following someone else or their rules that they set out for you.
Yes. And that's been a really interesting thing I've dealt with, like, most of my life. I've had mentors and coaches that have been like, they see there's something in me that, like, they see how excited I am about what they're working on, and, I mean, probably, like, 7 times. I can name 7 different people that have been like, "Oh, you're a mini me," or, "You're gonna take my thing while I go on and do bigger and better things. You're gonna, like, run my baby." And I'm like, I'm down, like, I was down for that for a while, but then I realized, like, for a lot of these people, it's still them holding on to, "Well, it's the thing I created and it's my thing, you're just gonna be doing all of the work for it." And I wanna work with people that are like, "No, like, let's collaborate on this. Like, I called it this, but let's figure out how we can turn it into something together because you're gonna be doing all of this work on it." I'm looking for collaborations and not, being someone else's employee other than in my business development job.
Right.
An
They
interesting
see
thing.
you as an opportunity to build their business, to
Yeah.
develop their business that they've thought of and created and want to expand upon it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that does actually make a lot of sense for your business development role.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
What
Like,
about your
that's what I do, and I'm glad that's the vibe I give off, but also when it comes to, like, this, like, soul stuff, I've gotta be 10 toes down for me.
and I mean, your energy is finite. You can't be spending all of your energy doing your regular workload along with somebody else's workload and promoting their product,
Yeah,
especially while trying to build your own.
that's facts.
Yep.
Yeah, big time. So, yeah, much love to all of it, and I know that there are people out there that are gonna be so perfect for that role specifically, but, yeah, I'm trying on that role, um just didn't feel good. It was nice to have that realization.
Good.
Yeah. What do you think is the difference between performing the new you and actually being the new you? Hmm.
I think that you have to perform the new you to be the new you.
Mm.
Whether or not you are that person, you have to perform it to test it out and know what it feels like. I'm thinking back to whenever I first started spinning fire, whenever I first moved to Jacksonville. And a large part of why I waited, I bought my fire fans and I had them at our house for like a year before we moved to Jacksonville. And once we moved, and I knew I had to find a new community and I wanted to try to light my fans finally. So we went to the fire flow night on Tuesday nights. And the very first one, I told my friends, my now friends there, that like I'd never spun fire, even though I was a part of the flow community or the fire community in Tulsa. I had never lit anything. I was just hung around them and were friends with a lot of them. And so they convinced me that night to light my fire prop for the first time on the stage. And it wasn't comfortable. It was very scary. I felt awkward. I felt clunky. But at the end of the night, they laughed. They cheered, they applauded, they screamed and hollered, and it was amazing. And I was like so proud of myself. And then ever since then, I still don't necessarily feel like I'm a fire performer or a dancer or any of those things because it's not natural to me. But as you slowly do it, it will start to become natural. Just like anything that you do, if you start practicing it, it's going to feel awkward at first. And once you get more acclimated to it, it's going to be easier to do. And you're going to look like a natural, swinging the swords around. Yeah. But you got to start somewhere. And if it's not comfortable, if you know that there's an identity, there's a person that you're looking at, and you're like, I really want to be like them. They really inspire me. You got to perform for a second and see if it feels right.
Yeah, I love that because I think there is something like fake it till you make it. Because our nervous systems, like when we try something new, everything feels like scary, awkward, like raw, edgy, because our nervous systems don't know that we are safe to do that thing until we show up and do the thing. Now our body's taking in all this information of like, oh, okay, this is fine. We didn't die. Like we still aren't totally sure about it, but you like create a little bit more space for yourself. And then the next time you show up on that stage, you're creating a little bit more. And then eventually you're like, I own this freaking stage. Like,
Yeah.
so dope.
Exactly, and it's so at first, it can be a little bit jarring, right? Because like, you try a new thing, and for this example, I'm stepping into the fire dancing, and people will say, "Oh, are you a fire spinner? Are you a fire performer? Are you a whatever, fire artist?" It doesn't matter, and for the longest time, I would say, "No." Like, I have fire props, but no, I'm not, like, a performer or any of those things, and the answer is always like, "Yes, that is what I do now. I'm a fire dancer. I don't care if I'm being paid to perform. I'm still like, that is who I am now. It's not a performance. It's just naturally me. I'm happy to go up on the stage and actually play with the things no matter how good I am at it. You just gotta
Yeah.
step into that persona, and once you're happy with what you've accomplished or where the path that you're headed, it's a lot easier to continue to build that persona and expound upon it.
Yeah. And then it's like, what's next for me? Like, I just
Exactly.
this seemed so unattainable for so long, and I just proved to myself that I can do it, and I tried it. And, like, yeah, from performing something to just, like, showing up as yourself, like, that's the work of, like, aligning with your best self, with your highest timeline. It's showing up in spaces that you don't know what it feels like yet, but trusting that you're gonna be okay, and you're gonna meet yourself there, and that you're safe to choose something new and keep doing that. I love that, and you are absolutely a fire performer and a fire dancer, and it's been so fun to watch that journey, and I just celebrate you so hard for that because I mean, that's amazing work.
Oh, thank you, dear.
Yeah. It's huge, it's a huge deal.
Thanks. It's fun.
Yeah, so fun.
Has anyone in your life called you out or called you in about the new version of you?
Um, honestly, I don't really know because I moved to Oklahoma, like, 3 years ago, and I was so different. And even when I first moved to Oklahoma, I was very different from the person that I am now. And so I think, like, I can see where the quality of my relationships have just like skyrocketed from that time, from like pre cherry. and no alcohol, but I haven't been around a lot of people that knew me previously, so I don't, like, totally know, like, that if anyone's really called me out. But I do know that there are people that have called me in as far as, like, "Hey, like, your vibe is different and dope, and I want to get to know you. Like, what is what's going on? Like, what about you? What is this?" And it's like, that always feels really good. So maybe I have experienced more people commenting on the frequency that I give out or, like, my vibe. Um, but it's only, like, me that I know that it's because it's a new version of me. I don't think anyone's pinpointed and been like, "You're different."
Yeah, and even if they did, hopefully they're calling out the good things. So, it sounds like at least they're calling you in and not calling you out.
Yeah. I mean, even if they did, I'm like, like, you
That's true,
can't
what are they gonna call out? Yeah.
like, that's a you thing, baby, like, cause I obviously, like, didn't yeah, I'm just over here chilling in my sunroom, so
Yeah, killing it and making the cool TikToks and showing people how you do it.
yeah, there's that, thank
That's
you.
awesome.
It's so fun. It
So let
really
them
yeah.
call you out. What are they gonna say?
I mean, I will come back with sometimes, depending on, like, how I'm feeling, I might come back with a little clap bag, but it's gonna be well thought out and not mean. So, there's
That's
that.
true.
Yeah. Anytime that I've felt since I found human design, if I'm like, what is authentic for me in this situation? Or how do I authentically make decisions? Or now it's like showing up with however much energy I have, like you kind of called out, like I have a finite amount of energy every day. Um, and being okay with being the one that's like, hey, I'm leaving now. Like I'm leaving early. I'm actually not going to be the one that stays out the latest, or I actually don't have the energy for that. Um, but going back to my human design blueprint is such a beautiful map to authenticity. And yeah, it might take like a little bit, throw it in an AI, get a reader, reach out to me, guys. Like if you want someone to help you like decode your human design chart and like how can you use it for this map for authenticity. But there's lots of tools and resources out there as well. And it really is like this fast track. Like no one told me growing up, like, hey, Cherry, the best way that you make decisions is by talking it out and hearing yourself say it out loud. But human design told me that, and it's the truth. And that is like, oh, wow. Like, I can just totally trust myself that I am gonna I mean, it's not like I make every decision perfectly, but since I started leaning into what my human design said about that, that has, like, totally changed the game for me. Also, this thought around, like, I'm still working through, like, not announcing everything. I wanna tell everyone everything all the time. Pretty much an open book. But I will say it's no longer trying to get people to accept me. I'm just a talker. But in the past, I would, like, share everything trying to get people to, like, accept me or, like, hook something that they would find interesting. And so now it's just like, I speak my truth, take it or leave it. I know that the right people are gonna show up, and invite me to things, and that has been a huge weight lifted off my shoulders and much happier days, without wondering, like, "What did they think about that?" Or, like, whatever.
Yeah, and I love that your projector side talks a lot because I personally don't talk a lot. As you know, I'm kind of the opposite in that. And so it's nice to have somebody that like speaks their mind. I can listen and I understand exactly where you're going with it. And then we can have the conversation around it later on in depth, especially with like podcasts. We gotta hold on a second because then if I say it, then I'll have said it all. But I love that you have that about you, that you have that willingness to share and to communicate and to be open to other people. Because a lot of I feel like that's something that's missing from a lot of today's society. A lot of people don't really want to give to other people. They are either to themselves or closed off, or they want to take that knowledge and benefit from it. And so that's something that I do appreciate from you and from projectors is that you want to share that knowledge, you want to pass it along and help others be better, like do better.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
that's all we wanna do.
right. Exactly. That's literally what you wanna do. And, okay, so I am the exact opposite. I am a manifester. So a lot of my power from my human design comes from just manifesting and believing that the thing will happen and speaking it into existence. I'm built to initiate and to inform, not necessarily just throw information at people, but to get them going and on the right track and actually get stuff started. I don't really wait for other people to tell me what to do. I kinda just get started with it. But I don't feel like I talk as much though. I don't A lot of it is internal. For me, I don't have, and I don't know, maybe that's why I feel like not as many people are as willing to communicate as much stuff because that's personally how I am.
Oh, interesting mirror. Yeah,
Right.
experience mirrors of like that reality, which isn't like a bad thing because what know to be true about you is that you speak up when it needs to be said. You say the thing that a lot of people aren't willing to say, and you see the world in a different way, and you bring out what is important for us to like dial in on. And the things that you create are things that the community and the collective like need. Even if people aren't ready to get behind it yet, and I know that you've experienced that before too, it's like you're so powerful in that. So I could see also why you're like, maybe you don't wanna say it so much because I've had these incredible ideas and not everyone is, like, understood because 'cause they're, like, all doing their own shit.
Yeah, and also I should probably caveat that it doesn't come from a place of trying to benefit from other people's ideas. That's not why I'm so quiet or don't say it, because I know that I also just use that in my example. I say that, I think it mostly comes from the intention of I want to make sure that what I say is correct and that what I say isn't going to harm somebody or hurt their feelings for some reason. And also knowing that my words do hold power. And so if I say something, I don't want to wish it will ill upon somebody or tell them to do something because sometimes my words and just a manifestor's words can mean more than what they're actually supposed to be. And it can be taken in a lot of different ways. And that's something that I have experienced a lot in my life is that I'll say something that might be a hot take or it might be not even a hot take, and it will ruffle some feathers just because of how I said it, because I'm very like straightforward and this is how it is because this is what I believe to be true.
Very good, like, manifestor energy, and it's almost like if their feathers get ruffled, you know what your intention was, and so you don't need to, like, make yourself more palatable or tone yourself down. It's on them. If their feathers are ruffled, come and talk about it. Let's have a conversation because that's not what I fucking meant. Like,
And that's
that
definitely something. That's
oh,
something I learned in my older age because for a long time it was really hard to ruffle feathers. You
yeah.
want and I don't know if that's the people pleaser in me or if that's me growing into my voice and learning how to speak more aptly. And whenever people don't register what I'm saying, my message wasn't for them and I move on.
Yeah, I love that. And I want to remind you that like manifestors make up about 7% of the world. So like you see things differently, you experience the world differently, and it's very much this trailblazer. Like we're all wired for connection. So like even though it's like this lone wolf thing, like you've experienced it your whole life that you see and say things differently than probably everyone around you. And so it makes sense. I don't think it's people pleasing. I think it's like experiencing people not understanding because they're not like at that level yet. You're
Mhm.
rare. You're a rare bunny. Mm.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you handle like the ones who don't want to hear it?
Mm.
Punch them.
Yeah, how do I handle the ones that don't wanna hear the things that I have to say? Usually, I try to be gentle. No, that's not true. I usually just say the thing, and if they don't like it, I'll go back and forth with them. I have, in my older years, been way more direct, and especially when it comes to, like, professional settings. I used to be very beat around the bush and try to be nice about the way that I say things, but like you said, I'm no longer trying to, like, tamper myself down and, be this smaller version of myself so that I don't ruffle feathers. Now I'm a lot more direct and to the point, and I don't even take time to fluff up my messages. So punch them with words.
That's so funny. Well, it's like, "Oh, look, you get a lesson on dealing with how I said that." That's so funny. Okay, let's give our listeners some permission slips here. Um, like, you're allowed to not have the new you totally figured out yet.
You're allowed to grieve the old you while building the new one.
Woof, yeah. You're allowed to take your time. Like, not everything has to be a launch. You can be, like, figuring it out. You're, like, baking the cake. Let it cook. Let her cook.
You're allowed to be seen even when it's cringe and uncomfortable.
Ooh, you're allowed to be seen. That actually brings me into our next segment because, yeah, I'm gonna say you're allowed to copy others while you figure out what you look like or what feels good authentically to you and what you wanna show up as and what like, yeah, as you're figuring out your special sauce. So, I saw this post the other day that was like, "You don't need to copy anyone, just show up as the most authentic you," and I'm like, "Yeah, but there are some bunnies out here that are either just reinventing themselves or they're just figuring out what it feels like to be seen and to feel the fear and do it anyway." We say that, but it is a hard thing to do. And so, and being seen, online, in life, that can be super edgy and like a big obstacle to overcome. And so I say, my take on this is in the meantime, while you're figuring that out, find some people that you love their content and go ahead and let yourself copy the thing. There's so many reasons, like, for that, like, you're trying on different things for size, what feels good to you, maybe you try something and it doesn't feel good, like, maybe the whole thing is just, like, that you told yourself you were gonna do it, you loved how that other girl did it, you gotta feel the fear and do it anyway, and at the end of the day, even if you copied every single thing, like, exactly as this person, you still have your own frequency, you still are your own person, and it's going to resonate with different people. Um, and it really all comes down to like, what's your intention there? But I think when we're just like starting out being seen, like copy and give, credit where credit's due. But I mean, everything has already been done or like thought or said. And if you're trying to figure out like what's your special sauce or your signature recipe, you have to try a lot of other people's recipes first. And you cook those and then you find out what you want more of, what do you want to take out, where would you add heat. And so like I think let's like let them and celebrate them and instead of like holding on to like what you're doing so tightly, trust that like no one can do it like you, even if they tried. And that is way more authentic to me instead of being scared and being like, "You did a video exactly like me?" Like, absolutely not. I'm like, "No, please tag me." Like, it's that's so exciting because maybe I get inspired from you, and then now we're in this, like, inspiration vortex. It's, like, very cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that at the end of the day, you're right. I mean, everybody has their own original ideas, but we've all done similar things. Almost everything has already been done. And just catching it on camera doesn't mean that you're the first person to do it. And it all comes down to intent. Like at the end of the day, people are going to see others do something on a video or in a picture that they want to try out and they want to do that thing. But whenever they do it, they're looking at the final product. They have to get there somehow. They're not looking at how you made it and reverse engineering every single step of the way. And if they are, good. That's a way to learn from that person that inspired them. That doesn't mean that they're copying with the intent to be them. They're just copying to learn how to become themselves. And I really like this idea. I think it's a good way for our listeners to try on different outfits and different identities until you know which one fits. It took both of us a long time to figure out our identities. And even now, like we talked about at the very beginning of this episode, it is not an ending zone. It is continuous, it is always learning, it is always improving and changing.
Yes. Oh, totally. I love that. And this one, um, beautiful girl, on Instagram, I forget her name. Actually, I think her name is Amanda. And she, like, remixed one of my, videos where I was talking about that, and she talked about how, like, when you're learning how to cook, one of the first things you learn is how to boil a pot of water. Well, you get a pot, fill it with water, put it on a heat source. Everyone does that. Everyone's copying each other. That's like learning. And that, how can that be this negative connotation of like, oh, you copied her. Well, you started your pasta out like her. And it's like, how else was I gonna do that? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
No, I can actually relate this a lot to my macrame. I when I first started making macrame at the very beginning of my awakening. I mean, this was like the very first thing that I did for myself whenever I realized that I needed something to do with my time outside of drinking.
Mm.
And I was trying to figure out like all, just something that's like really entertaining that I can also be proud of, that I can show off. And so macrame was like one of those things that I'd been watching for a long time. It seemed easy enough. And so I cut up a t-shirt and I learned how to make a macrame plant hanger from TikToks. Well, over time, I got bored with the plant hangers and the standard macrame things that you can do with it. So I wanted to make macrame fashion. And macrame fashion is not very common. If nobody has heard of it, macrame fashion is where you have like macrame skirts or like a macrame top that has like the fringe. It's all knots and it's really impossible to find in like a box store. You're not going to find anything like that. It has to be handmade for the most part because it's an art, it's a craft. And I found a few videos of somebody making a dress once and I was just like, "Oh my god, that is so beautiful." But I had no idea how to do it. And so I worked to reverse engineer the dress by first of all downloading the TikTok and then watching it on like quarter speed and then
Mm.
screenshotting and looking at each of those individual knots and then I recreated the same dress that I saw on TikTok.
Whoa.
But it looked different because macrame, it's almost impossible to copy somebody identically unless you know exactly what you're doing in the right tension. So my dress, even though I was copying somebody else, ended up vastly different from what it was originally supposed to look like, but it was mine. So even though I was copying someone, it still came out a very original piece. And it didn't feel natural until I did it again and again and again, which meant that I had to copy more and more artists. I had to watch their videos and see if I could make this style. And then once I learned how to make a skirt, I could modify that into a long skirt. I could do this, that, or the other. Same thing with the dress. And then after you get good at making the individual products or pieces, now you can put them together and you can blend them. And it's a whole new product that you never even knew you had. And it's just a learning journey. It all comes down to like finding your style of your art too. It's a craft that you have to hone your style, and copying people will just help you identify a style to start from.
Yeah. Yeah. Like once you get to the point where you're like, all right, I'm comfortable being seen. Now am I just like going to this girl's page and just like recreating what she did over and over again? I'm not going to judge you for doing that, but also, is that you showing up as your most authentic self, or are you hiding behind someone else's content? And what's your intention? Intentions are everything comes down to intentions. Like, is your intention to steal like someone else's fame and clout because you're doing it the exact same way, or is it to like get to know yourself in this new modality that you are now in love with trying? I mean, like, someone painting something and then you paint something, of course, they're not gonna look exactly alike, and yeah, it's exactly like you said with that, and it makes me think of, so the way I make those TikTok videos, and I get questions all the time of how do you do that editing where it's like little clips and I have different outfits on, and it looks like maybe I'm changing outfits for every clips, and honestly, at first, that's what I was doing until I learned that I could, like, record the entire video in a bunch of clips, change the outfit, select the clips I wanted to replace and have with a new outfit on, and then just replace those. And so now the whole video looks like lots of different outfits and different shots and different takes. But I'm not going to gatekeep that because I saw that from another girl on, y'all remember that girl dances in the bathroom or girl in the bathroom? I feel like she was like the OG, where she was
Hmm.
like lip singing along to songs and like doing all these funny faces and different movements. And I just was always so inspired by that. And when I found out I could do that, like with the TikTok editing, I added in like my own flavor. But I'm going to give her credit because that's where I saw it first. But she might not have been the first one to ever do that. Um, and I don't gatekeep I don't gatekeep anything because it's like it's what you do with the knowledge that matters, not whether or not you have it, in my opinion. Now, trademarks, copyrights, whatever, okay. Like, if you wanna pay money for that and license out, your knowledge, I think that's fine. But when it comes to, like, discovering your own authenticity, I am here for the girlies that are creating space for women to want to, like, mimic them. Mimicry is the sincerest form of flattery. Let them, and know that, like, no one can do it just like you, boo. Like, 10 toes down on your authenticity.
Yeah, right? Nobody can do it, and I agree. Let them do it. As long as at the end of the day, like you said, as long as you're not hiding what your intentions are. You're not copying somebody because you want that clout. You want the attention that somebody else is getting based off of what they're producing. You're actually doing it because it's something that you enjoy and it's something that you're trying on for yourself to lean into your authenticity. Because people can tell. We can tell whenever you're being phony or whenever I'm being phony, anybody can tell. Um it's just
Yeah.
performing. You got to perform at the beginning. And there's a difference between performing and being phony. I feel like phony becomes obvious whenever somebody's hiding, right? Somebody's doing something over and over and they're trying to mimic a person without being honest and upfront and transparent about who they're mimicking and giving credit to where credit's due to that artist. They're just taking their clout, they're taking their craft and they're learning from it and then benefiting. Versus somebody that's performing at the beginning to learn how to be that person and their identity, they're becoming that identity. Their goal at the end of the day is not to take somebody else's, it's to make their own and grow it into something else.
Yeah, totally. And, like, if I'm honest, like, I am a combination of thousands of women that I admire, and it's not like I take their energy from them, but, like, the gift that they've bestowed of inspiration and guidance and wisdom and art and creativity, like, I'm all of those things, like, in one, and I think we all are.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, because I'm, like, thinking of, yeah, so many women, I make videos that are inspired by them.
Yeah.
Or I
Same.
even have a friend that she talks a certain way, and I noticed that I developed a talking like that, and I loved it. And I'm like, well, that's just, I don't know, that's and it's not like I was mimicking her, but it just like happened. And that I don't know, that's just that was it, like locked in some way. Which is
Well,
like
that's so sweet.
yeah.
It like creates a special bond, I feel like.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, I'm just okay with it. Like, when people need to, like, hold on to stuff, like, themselves so hard, I'm like, "Why? Why?" Because, like you said, the phony is not gonna resonate. Like, resonance is real, frequency is real, and people feel it, and they resonate with authenticity way more than they resonate with a copy or, like, something phony.
For sure. Is there a phrase or a habit or like a way of moving that you can trace back to a specific person? I mean, I guess you talked about talking about like that girl, like your friend.
Yeah, well, it's my friend Lainey, and she's gonna hear this, and she's gonna be like, "Yeah, you do, bitch." But I just, like, noticed it, like, there are certain things I say, and I've known her for, like, over 10 years, and when we were together, I would really say a lot of things like the way that she did, because she has such a unique way of talking, and now I, like, notice that in, like, little areas. I'm like, "Oh, I said that just like her." Um, yeah, so which is so funny. I love you, Lainey, you know that. Um
That's so funny because my next question was gonna be whether you'd say it out loud to that person or not.
I'm an open book. Yeah, I'm here to fucking create space and just, like, not let it like, whatever, it's awkward or it's not, but, I mean, she'd be like, "No, bitch, it's not awkward." Like, "You're fine." Um, but, yeah, I'm all about creating that space so that other people can show up a little bit more authentically. Recently, I've been doing these TikTok videos with this microphone because this woman, she does these apocalyptic fashion shows, and the way she talks is so interesting, and I tried to, like, record this video not talking like her, but I just did the whole time, and I gave her a shout out, but I was It's another apocalyptic fashion show.
And another fun thing about that, calling them out, calling out that artist is that what just inspired you, now your watchers and your followers are going to see that and they're going to go follow that person and they're going to be inspired by that person too. And they're going to have an idea of where your inspiration is coming from.
Yes.
It
Yeah,
just compounds.
totally. And, like, let's even think about, like, if you move to the South, you're probably gonna get a Southern accent, like, most people do, like,
It's
at
true.
least a little bit. And so what, are we gonna shame ourselves for having Southern accents or, like, you start talking differently depending on where you are in the world? No. Like, let's just drop the shame on that and be like, "Wow, that's really fun that you're talking like you're from Australia or something." Like, oh, that's so funny.
Fake it till you make it with fake accents.
Yeah. Is there something that you've tried on from someone else that turned out not to be yours?
Blonde hair.
Whoa, I can't even picture that, girl.
Yeah, no, it was weird. I tried it in, like, high school, and that was weird. No. Um I definitely pick up a lot of behaviors at work from other people. I find that I mimic the people that I like to work like my manager. I mimic the way that I talk, my style of talking now a lot like him and my emails. And it's subconscious. I don't even realize it until I go back to read my email later. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that was pretty good."
Yeah, I love that. And then I love when it goes from like, "Oh, I can see that I'm doing this because I'm inspired to someone," into like, "Oh, I just did that like of my own accord with my own flavor." Now it's integrated
Yeah.
into yeah,
Yeah,
into
whenever I think about my emails specifically, like I said earlier on the pod, I am a very direct person. And I have a tendency to do that in my emails as well. I just kind of type what needs to be done. And I don't really think about the fluff until usually after I've sent the email. And I'm like, oh, I should have probably said happy Monday or hope you're having a good week or something before I said your credit is denied. And then I don't until later on. And so whenever I think about these times that I've recently, just in the last few months, I've started like really taking a step back and like, okay, let me think about how this is going to impact their business. Not just their business, but like this person and their role and like, all of the above. Like this is going to hurt their day. They're going to have a bad day after this conversation. So now I can take a step back and like I understand that this is what's going on. I completely understand your frustration. And now I can like, empathize a bit with them and then tell them the bad news. And that's something that I never really tried to do before. I
that's
mean,
something that you've mentioned on here before that like you've been working on this for a while and that's awesome.
I
That
have it's hard.
like add to it. You're like, I'm here to tell you the thing. Like I'm an informer.
Yeah.
I'm not your fucking therapist. Like I'm like, "Come here, honey. We'll hug it out." I know, what'd she say?
Yeah, exactly.
Toughen up a little bit, she's right, so
Come on. Are you still crying about this? Actually, I have had that conversation a couple times where I'm like, "Are you really still mad about that with my husband?" And then afterwards, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's fair."
like, valid. Um, if someone has copied you, has that felt like flattery or something else?
Mm. It depends on the situation.
Mm.
It's very dependent upon the person that copies. You if it's a stranger that's copying to do something because they were in like we said, like they were inspired by the video or the craft, I'm always flattered. Always. Like, "That's so nice, that's so wonderful." But if it's somebody that I know is a hater, because there are haters, there are people that don't like us. We're not for everybody, and that's anybody. Everybody is not for everybody. Um, so whenever it is somebody that I know actively doesn't like me or they do something and it's like, "Oh, okay. I see what you're doing there." But then even then, I'm still flattered. Like, I'm still inspiring somebody that doesn't like me.
Yeah, yeah,
I
that
don't mind.
part. You're very inspirational.
Oh, thanks.
Mhm. And I think, like, the big, you know, key takeaways on this are it's all about experimenting and getting to know yourself. Try the thing, see what feels good, add your own ingredients when you want to, and know that that's what's going to make the thing resonate with more people. Like if you're creating content, it's for people to see it, right? So like the most authentic content is the stuff that like that's what people want to see and what they resonate with. Um, are you doing this because you want to disappear into someone else's life? That we're not about that. We're about authenticity, standing in your truth and trying things on for size. I mean, even clothes, like we can try things on that look great on other people, but our body types are different. So it doesn't look the same. That's okay. Go try something else on. Um, and I love this last line here. Like, are you adding your own ingredients or are you just plating someone else's dish?
Mm,
And, I think that's a good kind of measurement for yourself as you build your confidence in this too. Like, permission slip, let yourself have fun. If it's copying someone else's thing, freaking do it. Give them a shout out.
right? Give them credit. Do the thing. Cherry, if a listener wanted to try this, copy his discovery in their actual life this week, what advice would you give them?
Mm, I would say go for it. Go find a creator that you like and just see what you can come up with. Like, um, yeah, I have a bunch of people that I'm super inspired by, and this one woman, like the Apocalypse Fashion Show, I just started talking in a microphone, wearing a fun outfit, and just like giving some life truths, and it felt fun to do that. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna do a few more things like that, and I figured out I could add like a special hat, make it my own thing. I still give her like a shout out. So yeah, I would say go find that piece of content that you like and see how you can recreate it in a way that feels really good to you. That's the important part. It's got to feel good to you. How do you debrief with yourself after trying something else on?
Mhm. At the end of the day, I will stare at myself in the mirror and have a very stern conversation if I liked it or not usually, or it usually comes down to what I'm trying on. In recent months, it's been props, different flow props, l less less identity based and more activity based. What can I do with my body and my functions? So, typically, my debrief is analyzing how it went, how I felt, and asking myself if I want to do it again and if I enjoyed it. Because there's a lot of times where I will do a thing and I might enjoy the setting and the surroundings, but did I actually enjoy what I was doing in that surrounding? I might have enjoyed the environment because it was fun, but did I actually enjoy what I was doing in that process? So really deep diving on those questions is really important to debrief.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, super important. Like, and how did it actually feel in your body? And like, also, I guess as another part of what I would suggest listeners that are maybe wanting to try that out, also let yourself try a bunch of different kinds of content. Like alchemize multiple people into one video. That could be a way to make it your own authentic thing.
Mhm.
Uh, but I think more than anything, just drop the judgment that like just because you're doing something the same way that someone else did means that like you are inauthentic or it's bad or wrong. I think we just need to like let each other have space to do the things that we're doing because we're doing them to inspire people. At least that's what I'm up to.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, they're gonna continue to do the thing if it makes them happy, so why not support them and help them get better at the thing?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking for inspirational vortexes, like, we just keep inspiring, inspiring, inspiring.
Yes. Same.
Clover, if you had to name your special sauce right now, what ingredient is only yours?
Optimism and smiles. Something that is, I think, a little bit unique to me is that I do smile a lot. If you meet me in person, I'm usually smiling. Even whenever I was, in my early years and at work, I remember walking when I worked in a casino and walking through the hallway in the back, and a security guy walked past me, and he's like, "You're always smiling. Like, why are you always smiling?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just happy, I guess." And it kinda stuck with me because I was just in passing, going to my desk. It's not like I was doing anything. Then as I got older in my, like, late 20s and, start drinking a lot more and partying a lot more and become a little bit like tough, or I guess you could say. I feel like I kinda lost that a little bit, and I didn't smile as much. I wore a lot of black, kind of like lost myself until like my awakening period. And now I do notice whenever I don't smile in a day. Even though I work from home, I can sit here and if I haven't smiled all day, I'll be like,
I
what's
feel
going on? Yeah,
it.
exactly. Like I should at least smile on a call. And, whenever I walk past people at the store, I try to smile or give them a half smile. And at the end, I think it brightens everybody's day. Like everybody wants a smile and it will make you feel a lot better about any interaction that you've had with anybody.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that, and you have such a beautiful smile.
Thanks. So do you. What's your
Thank you.
special sauce?
I'm like a little bit of like sexy audacity. I don't know, like awkward and just so I did this video the other day and it was like I was wearing these sweatpants and I was wearing my moon shoes and I was wearing a bathing suit top and like another top that was like super short tied up and I was like feeling hot and the video is like kind of awkward but also kind of hot and like who does she think she is to just be like staring in the camera like that um very much like who does she think she is energy, that kind of audacious like authentic. I don't really care. Like, here I am, I'm gonna like create some space for some other baddies to like start dancing in their bathing suits. And like, I love that you create that space for us too, and like showing up hella sexy. And yeah, and I've like seen some of my followers start doing some of these like similar things, and they'll like tell me like I'll get messages like, "Yo, you inspire me." Like sometimes my faces are like weird in the thing. I did this one whole video where I was just like super like mask energy and I loved it. I just felt like daddy like the whole like thing. And I was like, "Ooh, feel the fear, do it anyway, post it." There's yeah, I guess my special sauce is like awkward audacity, sexy awkward audacity.
Okay. I like it. I don't see the awkward. I see the sexy audacity though.
I'll take that. I mean, I think maybe it's like awkward for because I'm like a little it's audacious.
This is an identity that you're trying on.
Mhm. It feels good. I'm like, yeah, that's Cherry walking around with their like fringe hat talking about like whatever the fuck I want to talk about. Um and feeling hot. I love my like comfy couture outfits.
Yes, they're
Yeah,
cute. I love it.
thank
Yeah,
you.
no, I've been enjoying those videos, and it does open the space for other baddies to slow down and pause. I think that that's another thing that's missing in our current TikTok environment is the pause and the slowness. And I noticed that when I was watching your video. Maybe that's why it felt awkward, is because it's slow and kind of.
Yeah, I was like in my space with it. Yeah,
It
that's
was
really
great
true.
though. Yeah,
Thank you.
made it.
It's very inspired by her name's Dee something. We'll put her in the show notes because I've talked about her a lot. Apocalyptic fashion show. 'Cause yeah, this has all been good about like trying things on for size and like how to trust yourself and give yourself permission to be in process. Like you decided you've reinvented yourself. The new you doesn't have to be like this finished product. It's not, we're changing all the time. And it's like deciding who you are is just that first step. You just opened the door to this whole world of who are you in any given moment. It's very exciting. It's a very fun place to be.
Yes. And find the women, find the energies and the communities that you admire. Study them, don't become them. Just study what they're doing and then find out what's activating in you and then impound upon that.
Yes. And then trust yourself. Trust what feels good in your body. And like, okay, you're gonna get the nerves a little bit, and that's okay. But like, then when you do the thing, do you feel like elated, or did it make you feel like, ugh, like I wish I hadn't have done that, and it's nothing like me? Your body will always lead you in the right direction. And check out your human design chart and chat with me about it. I'd love to walk you through that so we could get some clarity on what your body's saying and how you best make decisions as you figure these things out.
And we will link Cherry's info in the show notes as well. Yay. Well, thank you, listeners.
Yes, thank you so much. We'd love to hear from you. And also, we're so excited. In a couple of weeks, we have our second annual Goddess Meetup.
Yes.
Over.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. One more time for that plug. It's going to be a whimsy workshop. So we'll be making seashell wind catchers and we'll be doing astro readings and then a nice healing sound bath at the end. So if you are anywhere near the Jacksonville, Florida region on June 15th for the new moon, please come join us under the moon on the beach at 6 p.m. as we do our whimsy workshop and enjoy a sound bath.
Yay. I'm so excited. Thank you for listening, goddesses. We love you, and we're excited to see you in the next episode.
See you next time, goddesses.
You can find us on Instagram at Going Goddess Podcast and join our community of radiant rebels in the Goddess Collective on Facebook, a sacred space where we take these conversations even deeper.
And remember, you're not alone on this journey. You're leading it.
Goddess vibes only. And as always, stay radiant,
Stay empowered
and keep going, goddess.